The guilt comes in because we also have been conditioned and socialized to think that everyone else's needs is our responsibility. We are not raised to believe that we have to fulfill our own needs.
Dhanusha, welcome to the LifeKraft Podcast. I am insanely excited for today's conversation because it is so relevant and you have been such an inspiration online for me. So I'm so honored to have you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited myself. I also love the work that you do. So yeah, thanks for having me.
So you have a really interesting story, and I'd like to dive right into that because I think so many people can relate, especially after 2020, but you had a nervous breakdown at the age of 22 that led, I want to understand, at the age of 22, most of us are only discovering life and we're only getting started with things, and you going through a nervous breakdown. How did that happen at such an early age?
So a lot of people call me an old soul, so maybe that's why. But no, seriously, I was studying and I was working. So I had a full-time job and I was studying through UNISA. And although they call it part-time studying, it's really not, right?
No.
Anyone who studies through there, the volume of work is quite intense. And I am a person who puts like 100 to 200% in like everything that I do. Like my heart and soul is in it. So I wanted to be the best in my job. I wanted to be the best student. I wanted to get all A's. I was sitting with marks in the hundreds. And I thought, I could do everything, right? And we're also told that we're really socialized to be women. We can do it all. And I think we have to ask ourselves, do we want to do it all? Or do we want to intentionally do what serves us? And at that time, I actually didn't know what stress could do. I didn't even know what a nervous breakdown was. I come from an Indian small town in Durban. We never spoke about mental health. So enter load shedding, enter exam season. It was still in 2015, it was still load shedding. It's been like 15 years. So I think the exam period hit and I was not getting any sleep with the load shedding, trying to study, trying to work. The work hours got longer. And eventually, I also had a roommate that was not a great roommate. He would come in, he worked shifts, he would come in and he would put on the microwave 3 a.m. So that would interrupt my sleep more. So I think it went on for weeks that I was not having proper. And like I said, I had no idea what stress can do. I had no idea all the terms of burnout or any of those terms, nervous breakdown. And I ended up very sick, overstressed, chronically stressed, and in the hospital. And later on discovered, this is what happened. This is a nervous breakdown. I was young, so I was able to recover fully and, take changes or make changes in my life that helped me. But wow, it was a hectic time. I wouldn't say it was easy at all. It was very stressful.
I can imagine. Oh, yeah, it is. And I think that's why I love you telling that story, because so many times we get conditioned to believe that if we're young, we have a really big capacity for things. Stress doesn't affect us as much. Wait till you get older. We hear all of this programming. And as if while we're young, we can just go, go, go. We don't need to take care of ourselves. We don't need to get sufficient sleep. That's the time to just push through and just make the most of every opportunity you get, disregarding your health completely. Whether it be your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health. And hearing a 22-year-old getting a nervous breakdown is such a big thing because it breaks the stigma that young people don't also feel pressure, that we don't also buckle under pressure, have too much stress, don't know how to take care of ourselves. And these are things that we actually should be taught, I think, in school and by the adults in our lives. So it's such a big, big, big thing to talk about. And I love that you share that story. But I want to get into another part of your story because I think it's so relevant for a lot of people. You went from a computer science degree to pursuing a digital marketing career, becoming an entrepreneur, and now you help millennial women prioritize their self-care. That's quite a big shift to do. Coming from, I don't know how you grew up, but I came from, you pick your grades, you pick what you're going to study, that's who you are for the rest of your life, there you go, that's your career. How did that evolution happen for you?
I guess from the get-go, even throughout schooling, I had no idea what I really wanted to do, and I had no idea what was truly meant for me. And from a grade point of view, I really did well, not to sound egotistical, but I really did well in anything that I did. So it was really, really hard for me. So I've studied many other things, not just computer science. And I just found that none of it was really for me. And during that time of studying, I realized that I wanted to start a blog. I had a blog previously in 2013 when I was overseas for a year, and I just had no time because I went to au pair in the States. So while I was studying, I was like, no, I really want to start a blog. I was in this Facebook group full of makeup people, and I was really into makeup at the time, and I was obsessed. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start a beauty blog. And, it really overtook my life, because what I hadn't realized is, even though I'm very logical and analytical and all the right brain stuff, all the left brain stuff, I'm also very much right brained as well. Left-handed, I'm very creative, I've always been very creative. And I think when we choose our careers, we choose the path that we want to go, we always go with what's going to give us more money. And we know creatives can suffer a bit. Yeah. So I never thought of doing anything in the creative space. That's why I always went with the sciences and that kind of thing. And if I think long term, I don't think those careers were actually meant for me. So I don't see myself sitting behind a desk and coding away. So I had to make the blog went really well, and it was my passion project for a few years. I started it 5 years ago. So eventually it went from beauty and lifestyle, then into more lifestyle and just full on lifestyle. And I was still studying, and something quite hectic happened in 2019. And that led me to really question myself and who I was and what I wanted in my life. It was another kind of self-discovery path that I was going down. And I always spoke about taking care of yourself. I always spoke about, prioritizing mental health. And I didn't realize that there wasn't really anybody focusing just on self-care as far as I knew in the country. And I decided, okay, I want to actually start pivoting and moving into that space, because I don't really find anyone doing that specifically and only focusing on that. And I really dived into it, and I bought all the books, and I read all the books and listened to all the podcasts. And, I really felt into who I was. And once I found that voice online, and I was able to share my voice, but then also being able to share it online, I really just connected with people on a deeper level than I already did. And I find that's where I found my true calling and my true purpose. And eventually, I quit my degree in 2019, worked in an agency that year. And then I moved to another agency in 2020 for another year. And I could not manage it. It was a really toxic environment. I liked what I did. But I think the pandemic hit, that year. And it was everything just went completely crazy. And I was like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown again if I continue like this, because I was working full time. I was staying out till early parts of the morning, working really hard. And then every weekend I would be working on my blog and my campaigns. The brand deals came in heavy that year, because the focus was on influencer marketing, because when the pandemic hit, it was much cheaper to advertise with influencers than on TV or radio and whatever the case was. And then social media usage obviously went up. So I was really, really stressed out. So I was like, I can't continue like this. I need to pivot again. I need to make a plan. And that's when I decided to leave. I decided to take the coaching route. And I did a coaching course that year as well. And yeah, since then, I've launched the self-care journal, the affirmation cards, and now I've launched a coloring book with affirmations. And that wasn't even the plan for this year, but the inspiration came, and I really just thought that I needed these things in my life, and I thought that could help other women. So along with the coaching and that, I just really found that I just love doing it. I just love helping women take ownership of their lives, make themselves a priority, really know what their purpose is in life and just take care of themselves, because we're so focused on doing the most for others and we don't always do that for ourselves.